Hello and welcome to the Rhino Rank podcast, where we dive into all things marketing, SEO, and business growth. As always, I'm Jack, and today Jess and I are focusing on a topic that's crucial for businesses looking to make an impact close to home: local SEO. And there's no one better to guide us than the one and only Kasra Dash. Kasra is a powerhouse in the local SEO space, known for tactical know-how, actionable insights, and real-world results. From Google Maps to local citations, he's helped thousands of businesses rank where it matters most. In this episode, we take a look into what's working in local SEO right now, how to avoid common mistakes, and the role link building plays in driving real results for local businesses. Kasra, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for joining us. We're really excited to talk about this. We've not spoken about local SEO in detail yet, so we're hoping you've got plenty of insights to share with the people listening and watching.
Yeah, the ultimate thing that I've started to say, right, is SEO's not really changed as such in the past 5 or 6 years. You just need to get that little bit smarter in your link building efforts or your content efforts, which I'm sure that we will probably dabble into in this podcast.
100%. Sounds good to me. So before we get started, I've given a little bit of an intro, but do you want to give us an introduction on yourself and where you started with SEO, your journey over the years, what you're doing now, and we can crack on from there?
Yeah, so I initially started off as a web developer. I feel like it's 2 years ago, but it's actually not. It's maybe 7 years now. So I started off as a web developer at an SEO agency, and then I basically wanted to get into building PBNs and doing web design work. And then I realized you can manipulate Google to show up for keywords. That's quite cool. And I basically just started learning from that. I started very early on doing local SEO work or local client SEO work. I then went and started doing a lot in the gambling industry. So that's a massive jump. And then since the gambling stuff, I've then been able to build out my own personal brand. So I've got over 30,000 subs on YouTube. I've got quite a big email list and community and stuff like that. So I think that the biggest thing that a lot of if you're an SEO listener, a lot of people where they get wrong when it comes to SEO is they think they just need SEO. I'm more of a holistic, do as much as you can, do a little bit of Facebook ads, do email marketing, do SEO, do PPC. Obviously, if your budget can align to it, yeah.
I think it's completely right. It's almost trying to make sure you don't put all of your eggs in one basket per se, having plenty of different avenues. We had someone on the podcast last week and their approach was very similar, trying to build that personal brand across multiple avenues: socials, YouTube, LinkedIn, and like you say, even an email list, for example. So I definitely agree with that. When we think about local SEO as a whole, whether it be for a big or a small business, why is it so important? Why is it an essential part of your strategy?
So a really good analogy that to be honest, I'll be 100% honest. It's not my analogy, right? But I've just heard other people talk about it, and I'm actually, that's quite good. If you think of page one of Google, as a busy high street, right? And obviously the rent's going to be a lot higher on a busy high street. But would you rather a shop on that or a shop 7 streets down that nobody passes by? Of course, you're going to want a shop on the busy high street. Yes, it might be a little bit of a burden to fork out the rent every single month, but that's how I almost see page one of Google, and more importantly, the top 3 spots of Google. Because a lot of people think, oh, position 9 ranking, that's good. It's not actually the case. The top 3 spots is the money spots. That's where a lot of people get the clicks and get web form submissions. If you're an e-commerce store, that's where you get the most sales. So that's why I think local SEO is really important. Not only that, as well, is if you're in the right industry, let's say, for example, you are an emergency plumber. What's the first thing somebody's going to do when they've got a leak? They're probably going to go onto Google saying I've got a leak. How can I fix this? Or emergency plumbers near me. And if you're able to be displayed in that top 3 spots, you're going to get a web form submission or you're going to get a call very, very quickly.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Obviously, local SEO has been around for a while. Over the last few years, we've seen quite a few significant core updates make fluctuations within rankings. How do you think the updates have shifted the way local SEO has maybe been put out or maybe been completed? What do you think's changed there with the updates? Do you think there has been significant changes?
There has been a lot of changes. Like I remember when I first got into SEO, there wasn't even like a map pack. Like you had the top 10 results and you had to physically click on maps, and then that's where the maps were. I believe that's what it used to look like 6 or 7 years ago. Now we've got like the free pack of the Google Maps, then you've got like the results, you might have some PPC listings and stuff like that. So things have obviously changed. But what a lot of people don't understand is that Google, like there's so many people that hate on Google, and they're like, after every single update, I don't know if you ever check out Twitter, but it's like
Yeah.
people are just giving Google so much crap, right? But what people need to understand is that Google ain't thick. Like, it's not a stupid company. They do have a lot of data points, do have a lot of data to say, like, look, we've moved the map pack over to the search results because that's a better user experience. But there's a lot of things that they do, and as a single individual, you would look at it and be like, why have they done that? It makes no sense at all. But in reality, they've definitely got the data. Like, I don't know if you know about this, but there is a patent for every single search result, and basically this patent allows Google to have a random website in there. So, for example, if you think of it, right, if you were to search up lawyers near me, the top maybe 6 or 7 results might be actual local businesses, but there might be like 1 or 2 websites, and you might think, why is that there? Like, is it a really old website, or it might be a directory listing? The reason why they include those 1 or 2 random sites is to further improve their next core algorithm update. So, for example, you might be looking at the top 10 results in position number 3, like you just can't wrap your head around it. You're like, it's not got the best links, it's not got the best content, but it might have a really good website like UX structure. So what they'll do is they'll throw like a random site into the search results, and if like, for example, it does have a really good UX, if they can see that from like an analytical point of view, the next core algorithm update, they'll try and find more websites that are like that. So in some cases, you might be doing reverse analysis of other websites, you might be looking at their backlinks, and it might actually be a little bit of a flawed test. That's why in sometimes like SEO is always like the it depends answer. So it's like, how long does it take you to rank? Well, it depends. Like,
Yeah.
depends if Google like loves your site or if it hates your site as well. There's all of these like nuances when it comes to SEO that not many people understand, or in some cases people overlook it.
100%. It's like you just mentioning about like the random website and the search listings. I didn't know that was a thing, but now that you've mentioned it, I'm remembering all the times that I've gone onto like a search, I've done some scrolling, I'm like, why is that website there? Because it makes like no logical sense. And then with you touching on as well that, SEO is always like, oh, well, it depends. I feel like you can often put like 10 SEOs in a room and none of them will have the same opinion or agree on the same topic. So I feel like
Yeah,
it's almost the same.
yeah. Like we've got like a rule, like we don't hire SEOs, like we hire apprentices because we feel like SEOs come with a lot of luggage. So it's almost like, for example, we done a interview like maybe like 2 years ago now, and we never, honestly, never really do interviews with ex SEOs, but this SEO was like, we looked at the CV and we're like, maybe we should hire this person. Came in for the interview, and one of the questions was like, what do you do for link building? And as soon as we said that, they were like, oh, I don't do any link building. It's illegal. It's against Google's T's and C's. And I'm like, what T's and C's are you reading, mate?
We've had that before, and we've spoken to people in the past, and it's talking about maybe the campaigns they've run previously, their experience with SEO as a whole, and talk about, okay, how do you go and optimize the site on page technical content? What do you do after that if you still can't beat your competitors? Just review the content again, and it's almost that naivety or lack of understanding that link building is such a crucial element of SEO.
It's like I could sit obviously with you guys and we could have a really good conversation about link building, and we both understand that for a website to rank, it needs links. But then on the counter argument, right, I could go and speak to somebody like Corey, right, where he's like semantic SEO. He believes a lot more in like the content quality side of stuff. But then if content ranks you higher, and we know that links ranks you higher, and we know that technical SEO ranks you higher, why wouldn't you just do all three?
100%. And I think that's the beauty of the SEO industry as a whole, isn't it? Is everybody has their own experience, everybody has their own case studies, their own testing sites that they've been able to test everything on. But like you say, when we speak to a client, if we talk about link building to them, we'll always recommend you have to do everything else. It is almost taking that holistic approach of optimizing your site as best as you can, again, on page, technical content, and then link building. The link building is definitely supplementary to everything that the site already has. What we often find is that if we compare two sites, so if we have a client and they want to compare themselves with a competitor, if their site is as well optimized, their content is good, the technical is good, links are likely going to help them improve their rankings. That's typically where you can beat a competitor. But if their competitor is optimized much better, their content is better, and it serves the purpose better, it answers the question to a greater degree, links probably aren't going to help as much because, again, Google's likely not going to prefer what they're answering. So I think it's really interesting in that sense to make sure that you have that holistic approach. Like you say, even if some people prefer not to link build, they still see fantastic results. I think that holistic approach is definitely worthwhile.
I always say that link building's like kind of like the cherry on top. So if you've got everything else in line, even if you've got okay content and like pretty decent technical SEO and stuff, and you're doing your internal linking, so on and so forth, one or two decent links can definitely move the needle.
100%, definitely. Moving on to our next section, why do you think so many businesses struggle with local SEO as a whole?
You're going to love this answer, Jack. So many businesses don't build enough links. I'm not even saying that to sell links, by the way.
Yeah.
But honestly, like I don't know what the exact stat is. I swear Ahrefs done a case study, and I think it was like 85% of the entire web doesn't have any links being built. Do not quote me on that, but it's something like ludicrously high, like crazy high. But it's like, again, going back to like what we were chatting before we actually went live, like how important it is to like have brand mentions and making certain that Google understands your brand. Like I've always said, like if I quit SEO tomorrow, right, and I went and dedicated my life for the next 5 years of becoming the best brain surgeon in the world, right, and if I don't have any mentions of Kasra Dash being the best brain surgeon in the world, Google doesn't know who I am. And it's the exact same thing when it comes to your business. I know we were laughing and saying like not enough links, but it is actually like a very, very common issue. Like so many really easy phrases as well could be ranked for just by doing the correct link building. It might not even need to be like some crazy strategy, just building links to like your homepage, for example, getting citations being built, getting those foundational links being built. Like you don't need to spend crazy amounts on link building, but so many websites, they've not been ever registered in a local directory. They're not listed on Yelp or Yellow Pages. Just again, like if you're not being mentioned, how does Google know who you are? They simply just don't.
You're absolutely right, but it's like, why aren't people link building? I feel like sometimes link building's a little bit like Marmite. You'll have some people that absolutely love it, they're on board with it, they think it's valuable for SEO, it's valuable for their business, and then you'll have another portion of people who maybe think black hat SEO, I've been told it's going to crash my website. I think I'm going to tank if I even look at it, let alone do it. Is that right? Or do you think there are other reasons why people don't necessarily want to either invest their own time or work with somebody that does do link building?
One question, like I'll ask you guys the question first before I give you the answer. But Rhino Rank's like client base, would you say it's more local businesses? Would you say it's affiliates? Would you say it's e-commerce stores? What we thinking?
It's going to be a bit of a flake of an answer here, but we work with everybody.
Right. Okay.
I would say our typical client would actually be an agency. So let's say an agency who offers a holistic SEO approach and they are looking for link building services, but they want it white label. We do also work with those smaller local businesses and we see some fantastic results. But again, like you've mentioned, just having a couple of links to get this brand mention, get this local company mention with Google is absolutely crucial. It's building that sense of brand authority. Yeah. Does that answer
Yeah,
the question well enough for you?
yeah, definitely. The reason why I asked that is because, for example, like ourselves, like I've dealt with a lot of like affiliates over the years, and they understand link building, and they're kind of like, what do you mean? It's black hat. Everyone does link building, but the more local businesses, they've just not been educated on it. It's like if you were to knock on 100 offices down in London, you're like, "Hey mate, I do link building."
Yeah.
I could guarantee you, like probably like 97 of them out of the 100 would be like, "Good for you, mate." I don't know what it is though. So it completely comes down to the demographic. I feel like local businesses, like it is definitely to do with like the education. Like I don't know if you've seen like any of the ads. It's just a website builder, and it's like we build SEO ready websites. And a lot of businesses I've spoke to, they think that SEO is just getting 100 out of 100 on Yoast, and it's like, oh, like there's so much more to, like you need to do you need to do your technical SEO, you need to optimize your images, you need to make certain you're getting brand mentions, you need to do link building, you need to make certain that your content's actually optimized, you need to make certain that like you're doing competitor analysis. Everything is included when it comes to SEO, but so many people have almost been brainwashed by the bigger companies, by the website builders, that think, oh, I just need to get a 100 out of 100 score and I'll rank. And then they search up their name or their business name, and their business name doesn't even rank.
I think it's that issue with the SEO industry as a whole, and it's almost tarnished by that sense of saying the SEO industry sells snake oil, and it's that almost like you say that lack of education, and it's kind of an approach we take at Rhino Rank. If we're speaking to a client about link building as a whole, and it's probably going to sound a little bit crazy, but if we're having a call with a client and it's an introductory call and we ask them, are you speaking to anybody else? Sometimes they're a little bit taken back by it, but for us, it's absolutely a case that you need to speak to other people, other vendors, other SEO agencies for your own due diligence, for your own education, to understand what approach to take. And it's also for us to know that we're kind of morally doing the right thing in giving that education, giving that recommendation. This is the approach you should take. Even if you don't want to work with us, you could still follow something similar with another company. That strategy should be ongoing, even if that's not with us.
To be honest, I think that's a really good approach. Like you've definitely heard a lot of horror stories where like somebody's been paying their mate's uncle to do SEO, and their mate's uncle's meant to be some SEO expert, and all they've done is just go on Fiverr and built 6 million backlinks in an afternoon for £25 and charge the guy £3,000. So like there is a lot of stuff like that. But to be honest with you, I feel like a lot of industries are like that. Like even PPC, I've heard a lot of horror stories. Even Facebook ads, I've heard a lot of horror stories. Even some email marketing gurus. I think it does definitely come down to like, okay, how many touch points are you having with the client? How much education are you putting in with the client? Are you just sending them report at the end of the month? Because 9 times out of 10, that's probably not going to be enough. Like they do want to know like what you're doing. Who are you outreaching to? Why have you decided this link's good? Is it because 6 of my other competitors have this link? So doing all of those things and just being as transparent as you possibly can with a client is definitely good. And it sounds like you guys are already doing that.
Yeah, 100%. So obviously we've talked typically about the biggest mistake most people make with local SEO, not link building. That's not been sponsored in any shape or form. We've not spoken about that before the podcast.
I will add one more thing to that as well, and that's like the landing pages as well. So like not enough content and also not enough links. So like a lot of people think, oh, if I have like a 1-page website, I'm going to rank for every single keyword. People need to understand, like if you're a dentist, for example, you're going to have a page about braces, you're going to have a page about Invisalign, you're going to have a page about checkups, you're going to have a page about emergency dentists. Like having all of those, that's what gets you to rank for all of those individual services and keywords, along with the link building being done.
So obviously that could be another thing that people maybe don't consider. Are there any other smaller things that maybe people miss, or maybe people are doing that they think is working, but it could actually be negating their SEO, such as if we take into consideration keyword stuffing for many moons ago. Do you still see people doing that, or maybe ignoring reviews, for instance, inconsistent naps across different directories? What are some of the things that you see specifically with your clients?
One thing that you touch on then is the actual reviews on your Google Business Profile. Like, a lot of people are trying all these black hat tricks like CTR manipulation, driving directions, and all sorts of stuff. And that stuff is black hat, but I'm telling you now, it works, right? I'm not going to be one of those people on the podcast and think, oh, I'm only going to talk about white hat. I'm telling you now, it works. But making certain that you've got reviews. So it's, again, so many businesses I speak to, and they're like, yeah, we've been in business for 32 years. And I'm like, I'm only 27, I think. So you've been in business for like 7 years more than me, and you've only got 2 reviews. And the 2 reviews, one's your mate and the other one's a 1-star review. So you've got an average of 3 stars. If we want to get a little bit technical, making certain that you've actually got your NAP, like your name, address, phone number, on your website, making certain that you've got your Google Map embedded on your website, making certain that you've got your opening hours on your contact us page, making certain that like the telephone is consistent as well. Like sometimes like you go on a website and it's like the mobile number is on the website, but then on their Google Business Profile, it's a landline. And then you look at their citations and it's an old telephone number, and it's like, I'm confused. Never mind what Google thinks. So there's all these other things. A few bits that's working really well at the minute on local is making certain that you've also got like a business video. Like, so many people, they've not even got like a YouTube channel set up for the business, but like just doing like even if it's like a 3-minute video, like, hi, my name's Jack, this is what we do, these are the services that we provide, and you just upload that. It doesn't even need to be like crazy edited. Google is smart enough now to understand, right, okay, the Rhino Rank YouTube channel is tied with the Rhino Rank brand. So like just making certain that you're tying it all together. Not only that, as well, is like sometimes people are like, oh, how much SEO benefit is that going to have? It's not even about the SEO benefit at times. It's not all about getting higher rankings. It's also about like being able to convert that traffic into paying customers and paying clients. That's why, like before the podcast, we were talking about ORM, like online reputation management. Like, how does your brand look to potential customers as well? That's another thing you should be worried about, or maybe not worried about, but you should be taking advantage of that.
If we think about Google's Double E, for example, it's that sense of not just SEO for building authority, but proving your expertise, showing your experience across the industry as a whole, and proving how trustworthy you are. We've spoken about reviews. Again, if you've got 2 reviews, you're completely lacking that trust from other clients. And again, that authority, having those brand recommendations, even though it is what we could maybe call an SEO structure, it can work across maybe marketing as a whole. You can apply that to, like you say, your socials, your YouTube, to local SEO, to consistent NAP data. It's absolutely crucial. It's funny, I've got one example. There was a company I was going to ring this morning for something completely unrelated, but on their website, their opening hours are 9:30, and on Google, it's 10 o'clock. So I was like, okay, well, I'll go with the website. I'll ring at like 25 to 10, and they were closed. So it's that lack of consistent data that can completely throw you off from, like you say, from even converting somebody. Would I have maybe waited till 10 o'clock? Would I have called later on?
One thing just on that, you can actually negatively impact a Google Business Profile if you phone and they don't pick up. Like, I don't know how Google tracks it, but it's like a test that we ran probably about 6 or 7 months ago. Because like what you said, like there are some brands that like set their hours to 24 hours because they just want all the calls, and it's like, if nobody picks up that call at 7 p.m., it's going to negatively impact your Google Business rankings. I'm almost certain it needs to come from like a click from the Google Business Profile. Like, if you just phone them, like that's fine. Like, people do that. But if it's like Google Business Profile, they click on and nobody picks up, it does have a negative impact on rankings. I don't know if that is still the case, but about 6 or 7 months ago when we tested that, definitely was.
Just touching on obviously about the Google Business Profile and what we spoke about earlier about, the first page of search now changing. So you have your map pack now on the first page rather than having to click on map and then go to a separate section of Google. How important is it for that profile to be optimized, for them to have pictures, to have accurate information, to have regular updates, whether they're, promoting their recent blog post or adding their services or products. Because I see like a lot for myself if I'm doing a bit of competitor analysis. If I have our Google business profile up against a competitor, or if we're looking at a client against a competitor, there are really big discrepancies in how it's being used.
Yeah, you guys are gonna love this answer. It depends. So the thing is, it comes down to sometimes like the industry. So for example, if you are a locksmith, it's so crucial to be in that free pack because nobody like imagine Jack yourself, you're locked out your house, it's 7 p.m., it's raining, and you just want a locksmith to come in and sort your key out or sort your lock out. No chance you're going on a website, filling an inquiry form and waiting. Like you're phoning 4 or 5 companies, and the first one that comes out, that's the guy that you're basically going to pay.
Yeah.
In some cases, it's massively crucial making certain that like it's all filled out, like you've got all of the services listed on your Google Business profile, and then the services that you get listed on your Google Business profile, you should also have as landing pages on your actual website. So making certain it's all aligned, you're connecting all the dots for Google. So that's like massively important. But then in other cases, right, you might be doing like a kitchen remodeling, Jess, and you might be thinking, do you know what? I just want to look at like 4 or 5 different companies, like portfolios, and I'll pick one. In that case, do you really want to speak to 4 or 5 different companies, or would you rather just go onto the actual website, fill in the inquiry form, or maybe even look at their actual gallery section on their website? So it does come down to like the type of website that you're working with. I'm hoping that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. It's almost based on like the user demand, isn't it? It's like if people need you there and then, having an optimized Google profile and being in the top three is going to be key. If people are doing more of like informative or educational research, maybe a little less so. Obviously, it's still important to be as high ranking as possible, but you're not necessarily going to make a sale or a call in those 30 seconds. It'll be more, maybe they'll send a form, maybe they'll send an email, maybe they'll look at your website, go back, come back the next day.
Yeah, exactly that. Like, so like I done a presentation in Vietnam about this, and I said like, what's the likeliness of somebody searching like buy a red dress, for example, and going through to one of these like, and there was a lot of like females and stuff in the audience, and they were like, yeah, we would probably actually go through to like the shopping tab or the images tab. So in some cases, making certain that your images are ranking is also equally as important. It's not always just about making certain that your website's ranking. In some cases, people want to see like visual products, like so making certain that you are ranking your images on Google Images, you've got Pinterest, for example, or potentially you're doing before and afters on your YouTube channel. It's like what we were talking about before. It's being holistic as possible.
So let's say, obviously, we've spoken about quite a few of the mistakes that maybe local businesses can make, or even some of the things that they're possibly even slightly naive to, but again, due to a lack of education. In terms of when somebody comes to you, let's say you have a prospective local business client, how do they react when they realize all of these things that they've been missing out on? What's their initial reaction to that?
So we've kind of got like an approach where it's impossible to do everything. Like it's impossible to set up your Google Business profile, doing citations, building digital PR links, building links, setting up local landing page. Like there's so much work. So you almost kind of need to like block it out. So it's like, right, okay, month 1, this is what we're going to do. Month 2, this is what we're going to do. You almost need to like plan it out for them, because otherwise it's like going up to somebody that's never ran a marathon and saying, right, come on, let's go and run 48 miles or whatever it is. Everyone would be like, no chance. It's like, all right, okay, let's go and do like a little jog. Let's go and do a 10-minute jog. Okay, now let's go and do like a 5K. Let's go and do a 10K. All right, now let's do a marathon. That's the approach that you need, because otherwise, if you just go into it's almost like a bull in a china shop approach the other way. Like if you just go into a business and you're like, right, here is 382 things that your website's missing.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start? It's like like that's a lot to do.
And say it's almost like you're educating them on what are the right steps and in what order they need to be doing things, because I think especially if they are a local business and maybe they haven't touched on SEO or they don't really know much about marketing, if you throw over 300 to-dos at them, it's just going to be overwhelming. They're probably going to, feel a little bit stupid or a little bit unprepared. They might then back off as well. And instead of making those next steps and in improving their business and improving their website and their online profile, they'll just stick to doing what they're doing because that world is too much for them.
We done like a really detailed audit probably about 3 years ago. Like it was like one of the most detailed things. So we're trying to sell this audit to businesses, and it's like got every single page you need. It's got all the subheadings you need on every single page, how many internal links you need, how many backlinks you need, what grade of links you need. Like, is it DR30? Is it DR40? Like literally everything to the point. And it flopped because like it's like what I was saying before. It was too detailed for business owners. They're like, I don't know what an LSI is. Never mind what a backlink is. It's like it's just it goes over everyone's head. So being able to resonate with the actual customer is really important as well.
It's meeting them again at their current understanding, isn't it? And almost being able to set out that simple strategy for maybe the next 6 to 12 months. And like you say, set those clear tasks. This is what we're doing here because of this. We're giving you that understanding, we're giving you that knowledge. So again, almost if you don't want to work with us, you can follow a similar strategy elsewhere. We've given you our understanding, we're giving you our knowledge, our expertise, based on our own experience, as opposed to just saying, here's 100 bullet points, go and tick them off whenever you want to. There's no strategy, is there? There's no understanding.
Yeah, it's like one of my friends, you might actually know him, a guy called Gary Wilson. He always basically said, like, if there's two islands, right, and your client's island A and their expectations is island B, like page 1 rankings or whatever, you almost need to be the bridge. They don't need to know like what grade of steel and stuff like that's in the bridge, but you just need to be the bridge that they drive on to get to that second island. And that's a really good way of thinking about it. Like,
it is helping them achieve their goal, isn't it? Absolutely. What can you do to help them get where they want to be? And obviously, if you can share that knowledge, you can share that expertise. Fantastic.
exactly that.
So, Jess, do you want to take us on to the next segment? I know I've spoken quite a lot. I've asked quite a fair few questions.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've actually talked about the next segment kind of already, but it's almost like for businesses who are new to local SEO or SEO as a whole, what are some of the initial steps that they could do to test the water to get started? I know we've mentioned obviously about making sure that their NAP details are correct and accurate if they have a business profile and a website and a Facebook profile, for example. But are there any kind of other things they can do in terms of maybe on-page SEO for their website, or in terms of responding to the reviews that they get, or how to increase the number of views that they're getting?
So yeah, responding to reviews is really important as well. One thing that I feel like if we're talking about businesses in general, before even like signing up to any SEO, they need to have like some form of KPI in place. I feel it's like pretty important. So like, okay, how many calls have we been getting before? But how many calls are we going to be getting in 2 or 3 months' time? So like making certain that they're like tracking the calls and the web form inquiries, because it's all fine and well going and spending 4, 5, 10 grand a month on SEO or link building. But if you, as the business owner, you don't know what you're getting or what's improving, then what's the point, right? So, like for example, I see so many websites that like have massive improvements in rankings, but you actually look at the keywords that they're ranking for, and you're like, that's not going to get you any more inquiries, or that's not going to get you any more phone calls. So as a business owner, I think one of the most important things is like being able to track all of this stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And it's, as you've touched on with measuring and KPIs, it's making sure you're measuring the right things as well. It's not necessarily like how much organic traffic am I getting or how many keywords do I have, because that traffic could be from countries that you're not targeting or you don't serve. Those keywords could be, just educational terms, which yes, might result in inquiries, but might not necessarily lead to the inquiry forms, the calls, the sales. So it's important that you have the KPIs, but that they also are kind of almost transactionally directed, that there's a return on investment or like a return on revenue that you do get from them.
Yeah, definitely. Like there's one thing that every business owner should be careful of, and that's like vanity metrics. So like vanity keywords or like what you said, like that's actually a really good one. Like making certain that the traffic that you're actually getting is from the country that you're in. Because like there's been times where like I look at certain websites and I'm like, it looks like it's getting a lot of traffic, but you change the filter to like UK only and it's only getting like 10, 15 clicks a month. And it's like, yeah, your SEO's just completely messed up on the link building, or they've just not targeted the right geo.
Yeah, absolutely. So for a business, they've maybe got those KPIs in place and they've got maybe a primary goal and a secondary. What's then the next step? What area should they be focusing on? Because I feel like SEO and local SEO as a whole, there's so many different elements. So if it's something you're very new to, it can still kind of boggle your mind a little bit. It's like, am I meant to be focusing on my Google profile? Should I be having landing pages? Do I need to be building links? Is there a way that they can structure that? So in month one, they do X, and month Y, they do Z. Or is it very much kind of like you still need that holistic approach, but in small portions?
If I'm being honest with you, I would just jump on a discovery call. I'm sure you guys do stuff like this, where it's like you just look at their market and then you're almost acting like a fractional CMO. Because, and this is going to sound brutal, but a lot of business owners are not that smart when it comes to marketing. Like, and I'll give you a prime example. I've worked with a lot of dentists in the past, and I've worked with a lot of accountants. And some of these guys, or some of these women as well, they've went to university. They're way smarter than me when it comes to like business tax or fixing people's. Like, I do not know how to fix someone's tooth, right? But some of these people, they've went to university and stuff for like 4 or 5 years. Some of them are like chartered accountants and stuff. Like very, very, very smart, intelligent people. But in university, they do not teach you how to get more clients. They don't teach you how to do advertising or how to market yourself. So being able to like jump on a call with yourself, Jess, or even jump on a call with me, that 30 minutes or that 45 minutes that you guys are doing the discovery call, that could literally be the most cost saving thing that they could do for their business. They might have thought, right, okay, I need to go and spend 40 grand a month on PPC because that's what somebody's told them and that's what's working for somebody else's business. But that might not work for their business. So honestly, like the biggest thing that I would recommend to any business owner is just jumping on a discovery call. Like a lot of people are scared to jump on a discovery call because they think, oh, Jack's just going to sell me a load of links. I could guarantee you now, if Jack thinks that your website's not ready for link building or it's not ready for SEO, he's probably just going to be brutally honest and be like, listen, mate,
100%.
let's not do that. So yeah, that's what I would recommend for a business owner.
100%. I think that's definitely an approach we try and take here with our discovery calls, and it's kind of why we recommend it, because for us the biggest thing we need to understand is where this person is currently at, if they're a local business, if they have an understanding of what link building is, and typically what the purpose of link building is for that specific client. So if we're working with a local business, they don't really have a link portfolio, it's not established, they've been around for 15 years, let's say, Google still likely doesn't really know them. They likely don't have a huge amount of brand authority. So the key thing for us is getting Google to notice them, getting Google to understand they're having brand recommendations, they're having these organic votes of confidence from different places. Whereas if we're working with a local business, they've got maybe 200 referring domains, for example, they have somewhat of an established link portfolio and they've been around for 3 years. Maybe at that point, the purpose of our link building is going to be more targeted. We want to boost authority of specific pages to help them improve their ranking. So it's definitely a case of tailoring that recommendation and giving that understanding of this is probably the route you should take. We've had clients in the past that we have outrightly said, don't link build right now. Your website's been live for 6 months. You've got no links whatsoever. Going and building 20 links to this every single month for the next 6 months probably isn't going to be great because you're not ranking. So for us, it's definitely a case of making sure we share what we feel is kind of an accurate recommendation or kind of a moral recommendation. We don't want to take your business just for the sake of taking business. We've got to make sure that we're keeping almost your best interest at heart in that sense.
Yeah, one of the first things that I learned about SEO is obviously like link building, but the second thing was like making certain that if it's a newer website, there's always long tail keywords that you can go after. There's always easy to win keywords, and I suppose it's kind of like a strategy in a way where it's like, okay, go and win 15 long tail keywords, and then Google might reward you with one medium keyword, and now go and do 15 more keywords, and Google might reward you with 5 medium keywords. Okay, now you've started winning 5 medium keywords. Google's now going to reward you with one of your harder to rank for keywords. So it's almost like a pyramid approach where you've got like all your long tails down here, then you've got some like medium keywords, and then you've got like right at the top, like, I don't know, plumbers near me, for example. So that's the almost like the content SEO strategy that I would approach it. One other thing as well that I'd like to touch on is when you're doing like content and when you're doing on-page SEO and when you're putting together like a content plan for a website, and this happens so many times with like business owners. All business owners want to do is go after like the bottom of funnel, so like emergency dentists or Invisalign dentists and stuff like that. And it's like people need to understand that for you to rank for that, you need to be talking about pros and cons of Invisalign. Does it hurt when you get Invisalign? How much does Invisalign cost? Oh, you need to cover all of those, and then Google will end up rewarding you for Invisalign dentist in Manchester, for example. So we coined the phrase as being like topical authority. That's like what SEOs call it. Like the more documents that you have on your website talking about a certain subject, Google will then understand, okay, Rhino Rank knows a thing or two about link building, or Kasra Dentist knows a thing or two about dentists. So we're going to now rank you higher for more of your bottom of the funnel keywords. But the top of the funnel is obviously like the guides and stuff like that. Like nobody wants to do the top of funnel keywords. Like everyone's like, that's low ROI. Why should I talk about the pros and cons of Invisalign? No one's going to inquire, but you're almost becoming a knowledge hub for somebody that's looking to get Invisalign or looking to do link building.
I was just going to say, I think we touched on it in another podcast episode that we've done recently. It's almost like you could have a client that's doing a couple of months or a couple of weeks worth of research into yourself, into your competitors. They might be using voice search instead of just typing into Google. So those long tail keywords are going to be coming up more. But because they're doing that investigation and that research, those long tail keywords, those how-to guides, those informational kind of articles, that's what's going to pique their interest. And then if you've got some type of advertising, or if you've then earned those rankings for the short tail keywords and the targeted keywords, that's when they'll necessarily come back to you for the purchase, for an inquiry form. And that's when you have them. So it's almost building up that level of trust over time, so that they're not just investing in you as a brand, but they're investing in you as almost like a person.
Yeah. The best example that I could probably give to you guys is like if you went and done a detailed guide, and this might be like a monster article or a monster guide on how to do outreach, right? And a lot of link building agencies would be like, why should I give away my way of doing outreach for other people to go and copy? But the thing is, so many people are lazy, right? So a lot of people will probably read the guide. Maybe 1% might take action, right? And then the people that will read the guide, they'll be like, oh, Rhino Rank knows their stuff. I'm just going to hire them.
It's proving your expertise again, isn't it? If we think back to how we've already discussed Google's double E, it's that sense of expertise, and yeah, it's absolutely crucial. A bit of an off kind of tangent question here, but how do you see AI and voice search impacting local SEO? What do you think is going to change for local SEO with these things becoming more prominent?
So AI, a lot of people are worried about it and they think that AI is going to take over and we're going to be all out of jobs and stuff like that. My whole approach when it comes to AI is like, if you can embrace it and if you can use it in your daily tasks and stuff like that, you're just going to become like almost like a superhuman. So like I am absolutely terrible at grammar. Like it's never been a strong point of mine. I don't know the difference between like where, and where, or there, and there, right? Like, do not ask me. But I literally, like, whenever I'm sending an email, I'll write it all out and I'll just copy it over to ChatGPT and I'll be like, make this more fluent, fix any grammar mistakes, copy it back and use it on email. So stuff like that is absolutely amazing for. But then AI, like generative search or like the AI overviews and ranking in ChatGPT and stuff like that, people are going to believe it more and more. So if you're able to get your brand in these AI overviews, and I'm not saying it's anywhere near perfect right now, it's only going to get better. But if you're able to kind of start piggybacking and trying to get your brand mentioned in the AI overview, it's just going to establish more trust for your website or for your brand, making certain that you're starting that now and you're not like chasing the end of the stick almost in like 2-3 years time. Like doing it right now is like really important. Not only that as well, like we've had a couple inquiries recently where people are like, oh, I want to get my my business shown up for I don't know, best plumbers in Manchester. Why is it not showing up in ChatGPT or Google Gemini? And it's like, well, it's probably because you've not got enough links or you've not got enough brand mentions. So making certain that you're doing that right now, because it's still very, very early on in the AI days. Like a lot of people think like we're all going to be taken over in 6 months' time, and I'm like, nah, this is still very, very early on. Like it's crazy not to take advantage of being in the AI overviews or not just taking advantage of AI in your day to day life.
In terms of Google, obviously regularly participating in Google updates, something that most SEOs get very excited about. How should local businesses approach these? Do you think it'd be better for them to focus on maybe short-term hacks or long-term strategies per se?
So it depends. I could sit here and say obviously do long term strategies, but I'll give you two different examples. Some people they care about money today, money this week, money this month, right? And they don't care about selling their asset and or building up an asset or building up a brand and selling it in 2 or 3 years' time. So in that case, well, all right, yeah, definitely go for the short term hack. I'm not saying I'm against it, but just know the precautions that yes, you might be penalized by Google. But the thing is, some of these people, the mindset is all right, that's fine. I might get penalized 2 or 3 times a year, but I'll have that money and I'll build out 12 more assets. So if that's your mindset, that's your mindset. But if you're building out a brand or if you're building out an asset that you want to potentially sell in 2 or 3 years, you might not want to do a quick strategy. You want to build that brand out. That's why you're not going to be doing any dodgy link building. You're not going to be doing any quick wins SEO tactics, right? In that case, yes, go and build a long-term brand. Don't do shortcuts because I'll tell you now, like I've done both. A lot of the shortcut strategies do end up going down, but I know from the word go or from day one that this won't be a long lasting SEO strategy.
It's what serves a purpose, isn't it? Each
Yeah.
strategy or each hack per se has its own purpose, and if you can appreciate this is what I'm using it for, that's perfectly fine. Jess, do you have any final questions for Kasra before we finish up?
I just have the one question. I think it'd be quite a nice one to end on. So, if you were a business and you were just starting out in local SEO, I know that the one piece of advice we've told them to do is to just book a discovery call, book an introductory call, get that kind of information and that education. Is there anything else, or is there like another final tip that you would give them as like a next step? This is the one thing that every business should do if they want to improve their local ranking, if they want to start being more visible, if they want to build their brand.
One more tip. I'll give you two. Be prepared to fail because a lot of times like it's not just sunshine and rainbows. Like in some cases you might be going up in rankings and then there might be an algorithm update and it might impact your website. You might lose 25-30% of your traffic. You need to build that back up. It's one of those things where it's like Google changes the goalposts. So like if you're doing X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z might work right now, but Google might update and they might prefer this other strategy. And you just need to apply that strategy. So it's not got anything against your business. It's just trying to improve it for its user base. And so that's one thing that I would say. And then the other thing, and this was something that Jack actually mentioned, go out to like 2 or 3 different agencies. Don't just think like I'm going to only speak to this one agency because they're local and they live 5 minutes away from me. Like go and do a bit of research, go and figure out like who's the owner, how long have they been doing SEO, like what's their case studies. Because 9 times out of 10, the SEO agency that's ranking positions 1, 2, and 3 in your local area, they might not be as good as what you think they are. And that's the brutal honest truth. Also, like asking questions, but like asking other agencies the exact same question. Like, okay, Rhino Rank said that they're going to do this. Is this the right thing, or would you do it differently? What would
Yeah.
you do?
Kasra, That's been brilliant. Obviously, you've shared some fantastic insights. I know we've talked a huge amount about lots of different elements of local SEO and link building. Before we finish up, do you have any more questions for us?
I think that's it. I think we've covered quite a lot of grounds. One thing that I will say, and this is the ending note. I've been in SEO for like 6-7 years. It's all to do with content and links. Like there's all these shiny objects and stuff like that. If you've got good quality content, good quality links, and your website's technically built well, you're gonna rank. Like there's no other way around it. So I think that's it.
That brings us to the end of today's episode. If you liked what you heard, make sure to follow the podcast, drop us a like, drop us a comment. We'd love to hear how you're applying these insights and strategies to your business. We've got more brilliant guests lined up, so stay tuned for the next episode. Until then, this is Jack and Jess signing off. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.